In this video, you're going to see how you compare wine and chocolate together for the yummiest tasting combinations ever. And stick around until the end when I'm going to give you your own cheat sheet to be able to create your best food and wine pairings whenever you want. And I'll invite you to my live chocolate and wine tasting that we're going to do. If you want to relish life through wine, then join me and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell for notifications so when you know when I have a fresh video on Thursdays. I'm Dini, and I've been teaching wine for 20 years, even to British royalty. And I'm sought out for my fun way of doing wine that I'm going to share with you here today so that you can take your enjoyment of wine and chocolate to the next level. The first thing that I thought about when putting together this chocolate and wine tasting is that there are a lot of different styles of chocolate. Of course, there are a lot of different styles of wine too. So I really wanted to think about what are the main things to think about in order to create some really successful, yummy pairings. So here are the three key things that I decided that I would really take into consideration when it comes to chocolate. The first thing is that there are a lot of flavors that are often added to chocolate, that chocolate isn't just done by itself. The second thing is that the more percentage of cacao there is in the chocolate, the more bitter the chocolate tends to be. And then the third thing is that a lot of chocolate has sugar in it, and so there's a sweetness factor that is a little bit different than when you're doing typical food and wine pairings. When I did a Halloween candy and wine pairing video, one of our viewers, Debbie, asked me, well, can't you do the same thing with gourmet chocolates? Because I had basically chosen all the chocolates that kids tend to get when they're out trick-or-treating. And I thought that was a fantastic idea, and I am by no means an expert when it comes to gourmet chocolate. But I went and I got some advice, and I came up with a full selection of chocolate that starts out from anywhere from 32% cacao, and the highest one, we're going to go all the way up to 92%. We're going to taste some of the chocolates with flavors to them. So there's an orange one, there's a mint one, there's one that says that it's been flavored with Cabernet Sauvignon, there's one that is chai flavored for all sorts of exotic spices to it. So I kind of got a full range of all what I would consider gourmet chocolates. So I had a little bit of intelligence coming into this, and then I did some research on what all of the wine experts say are the best wines to go with chocolate. And I came up with this lineup here that was kind of a representation of some of the advice that I got. So the wines that we're going to taste today are, first of all, I have a sparkling Moscato from Italy, a rosé from the south of France, Pinot Noir from Oregon, Beaujolais from France, a Cabernet Sauvignon, and I also have a tawny port wine. So there's a really full range. We could have gone even more crazy with this. I probably could have come up with 20 different wines to be able to taste, but that was just frankly too much for me. So I pared it down to this grouping here. I'm gonna take a little sip of the wine since I know those better. Moscato, sweet, sparkling. Rosé, dry, refreshing. Pinot Noir, very fruity, light. My Beaujolais, kind of grapey flavors, a little bit of grape juice going on there and some floral aromas. Ooh, my Cabernet Sauvignon, this has got the power to it. Finally, I've got some tawny port. This is gonna give me a headache tomorrow. But it's so yummy. You guys gotta watch my video. I'll put the link up there to why tawny port is one of the wines you always have to stock. So here's the deal. Let's taste some chocolate. Okay, so here's what I can say. The milk chocolate, super, super sweet. Not exactly my style of chocolate. And And of all of these that I liked it with, I loved it with the dry rosé because it was a really nice contrast to it. It didn't take away from the flavors of the wine or the chocolate, really. I found it super refreshing. If I had to choose a second wine to be able to go with that milk chocolate, I would probably choose the Tawny Port because even though it was sweet and a little bit cloying, it still had a really nice kind of nutty flavor that was harmonious, we'll say, with the milk chocolate. So I liked that. My next chocolate is toffee and almonds in milk chocolate. Really sweet, but really decadent and yummy too. Oh, toffee, so good. So everyone with a sweet tooth is just going to love the combination of Moscato and that. Moscato and toffee, if you're gonna have a girlfriend's night in, that is what I would recommend. Actually, what I'll really recommend for your next girlfriend's night in or date night in is that you guys could join me at my next live tasting that I'm gonna do. You can get the link to RSVP to that below, and you can join me and we'll taste together. I'll be live. You won't have the video on you, but you can chat and ask questions about the food and the chocolate specifically and the wine pairings, and I'll tell you what to go out and buy beforehand. Beaujolais is good with the toffee. Cabernet Sauvignon is great with the toffee. I have no idea why. It's stone ground craft chocolate in Helsinki. It's vegan. It's 50% cacao. It says it has cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, turmeric, black pepper. Oh my God, and that smells like a cup of chai. Oh, great with the Moscato. I'll tell you what, the spiciness of the chai that's really contrasted, and that's what I try to do with a lot of my wine and food pairings, is I like to contrast things so that every bite tastes just as refreshing as the first bite. And that works really well. There's a contrast of this like bright, grape, juicy wine versus the spicy, dark aromas of the chocolate. Try it. Can't taste the rosé at all. Rosé is killed by those spices. If you like the Pinot Noir because of its berry ripeness, you might not love this combination because the chai does take away a little bit from that berry juicy. This is Madagascar salted almond dark chocolate. It's 63% cocoa. Great contrast, really refreshing. So if you're kind of on the border and you like a little dark chocolate but don't want it to be too bitter, you might enjoy the Moscato with it because it kind of lightens it, it brightens it up. The darker chocolate with the salted almonds goes so well with the Cabernet Sauvignon. And I remember I learned this when I was doing a wine tasting at Waterford Winery in South Africa. I discovered just how yummy that combination can be, especially when the chocolate has a little bit of salt to it. So let's move on. Orange and mint chocolates. The Pinot Noir actually may have been my favorite with the orange chocolate because I really got to taste, as I tasted the Pinot Noir, I really got to taste the orangey quality in the chocolate. Same with that Beaujolais, does the same thing as the Pinot Noir. The mint chocolate kind of overwhelmed most of the wines because that mintiness is just so strong and pervasive. I think the Cabernet Sauvignon did the best of all of these wines with the mint chocolate, and I think the port also holds up nicely with that. So now, this is a chocolatier. Here's some single origin, 72% dark chocolate with no flavorings. There's a lot of flavor here that hasn't been added in because it's just chocolate. On to the tasting. What I will say is those flavorful notes that I was getting in the wine kind of got overpowered when I had the port or the sweet Moscato. I was able to taste it better when I went with these middle wines of the Pinot Noir and the Beaujolais, so that's probably where I would end up for tasting this chocolate for myself. I tasted the Cabernet Sauvignon one with all of these, and here's what I have to say. Most of them were fine with it. But it was a surprise that actually the Cabernet Sauvignon, to me, did taste the best with the Cabernet Sauvignon and the chocolate. A lot of times I think these things are gimmicks and it's not actually going to work out that way, but I found it to be true. The last chocolate here, and this one has 92% cacao. It's kind of intense. It's really drying out my mouth. It's very bitter. But some of you might enjoy it. And here's what I found when I tasted all the wines with it, is that the Moscato, because of its sweetness and brightness, it kind of helped the chocolate. So if I was only given one chocolate in the world and that was the one I was drinking, eating, I think I'd want to have the Moscato with it. The Tawny Port did the same thing, and I really enjoyed that with him. All of the other wines, to me, the bitterness of the chocolate just overpowered the wines, and it wasn't a really great combination for me personally. This is our chocolate tasting. I'll give you and kind of try to summarize my takeaways from this. My first takeaway is that chocolate and wine is a really good pairing. And the second thing is that I was surprised that you don't need a sweet wine to go with chocolate, even if the chocolate is sweet. So some people love milk chocolate, some people love really dark chocolate, and some people love chocolate with different flavors in it. Let me know, comment below, what's your favorite kind of chocolate? Are you a milk chocolate lover, a white chocolate lover, dark chocolate, whatever it is? Tell me. Now that you have a taste for food and wine pairing, you might be ready to do some more of your own and also know what kinds of things are going to go really well with your other dinner items in terms of your wines. So if you'd like, I'll send you my guide to be able to do food and wine pairings. All you have to do is click on the link below and I'll send it to you for free. I think you're really going to like that. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like and share it with all of your friends who love wine and chocolate. And remember to subscribe. This really helps me to keep creating free content for you. Cheers!